Okay, here we are, closing day number 19 with a green day, but it's one that I'm pretty disappointed with, and I am actually making this recap a day late because on day number 19, on October 28th, very shortly after the bell, I ended up getting pulled away from my desk and taken away on business for about 15 hours. I didn't get back until after midnight today, the 29th. And so, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of visuals to go through, although there isn't much to talk about today anyway. So, this one's going to be a bit short. But to me, that's okay because there are quite a few things that I want to talk about for the lead up coming into this day. So, the most important thing that took place leading up to Monday, the 28th, was most certainly the internet upgrade, the much needed internet upgrade that I bought for myself and was finally installed on Friday. And as soon as I got that all installed on Friday, I took it for a test drive because I had to know, what are the differences. I have been having quite a few issues with my internet in the past leading up to Friday. And so I wanted to put it in action and see what it could do and how fast exactly was it. And I ended up taking 5 practice trades, as you can see right here. And all of them were green, although not super green. These are very quick scalps. As you can see, the longest trade lasted 8 minutes, the shortest one 22 seconds. But these were all very easy trades, and I feel like the internet did have a pretty good impact. And even though, I did leave a bit on the table in a couple of these, the quality of the trades is not the point. The point is that these were possible. I had zero problems on my order fills. Everything was smooth. It was amazing. And coming off the internet that I was dealing with, even though this still isn't that fast, it really felt like just a world of difference. And I went into the weekend due to these trades, due to having 5 winners in a row that quickly in 20 minutes. I booked like $206 in profit just like that, and I felt really good about that. I thought, oh great, now I can really do some damage on the market here with these internet problems fixed. And so I went into the weekend feeling really good. After I closed all these trades, I went to do some groceries. I felt super amazing, and I was like, people were looking at me funny because I was like the too happy guy walking up the street, and that all felt great. I must say the impact of these trades was really good, and then it continued through the weekend. I had a good weekend. I went to a buddy's place, helped them with some gardening. That was fairly therapeutic too. And I had some great suppers. Sunday night, I had an amazing supper that I made for myself, which I was really proud of. And I had also decided to install a new discipline point on my pre-market routine, which I used to use a lot and sort of fell out of practice. And I decided to reinstall it, and that's weightlifting, because I really hate weightlifting. It's something that does not interest me whatsoever. I am a big fan of exercise, but it has to be fun, and I find just weightlifting is the most boring stuff ever. And so I worked out a way that I could put that into my pre-market routine and hopefully increase the amount of discipline, because I haven't really been showing a ton lately, and I feel like that needs fixing. So coming into Monday morning on the 28th, I felt really good, and my first trade just kind of helped that. I had taken this one here on IC, where I got in pretty early on a bull flag pre-market at 721, and my initial target was only 10 cents. And even though I did exit this one early and I sold into strength, I didn't wait for pullbacks or anything like that. I did exceed my target a little bit, and I did so on a 750 share position, which, as you know from watching these recaps, is a bit higher than I would normally go with. And even though my timing wasn't flawless, I did have to wait 12 minutes for this one to resolve. I did get a good result. It gave me an $89 cushion on the day, 7% ROI on the trade, and I felt really happy about that. It just kind of reinforced all the positivity that I'd created for myself over the weekend. However, this trade also took place, as you can see, very early in the morning. This only happened maybe 25 minutes after I woke up, and I didn't really complete my pre-market checklist. It's weird. Over the weekend, I installed some things. I tried to refine it. I tried to improve discipline, add some chores for myself in the morning, and here I was failing day number 1 with that new system. And I did a little bit in between 7:30 and 8:15, but it didn't unfold in the way that it's supposed to. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I was really showing signs of being lazy kind of and trying to fast forward my way through a couple of the chores. And that in itself kind of defeats the purpose. And I really do feel that that may have been a turning point in a way, because my next two trades ended up being really sloppy. This setup, my next trade on IC, this was not a good setup. I really tried to force this trade, and as a result, I got burned. I lost 10.5 cents per share in a spot that I really didn't need to get involved in. And I did it on a 250 share initial entry, adding on the way in and the way out, like 2 entries, 2 exits, as you can see here. And that ended up adding to the commissions. And then on PBTS, shortly thereafter at, let's see, yeah, 8:52, I got involved in this one, and I felt nervous just looking at it, just evaluating it. I thought, I don't know, there's really big spreads, and that in itself too, that's kind of a warning sign, whenever your reasoning going into a trade is centered on, like that's not the kind of attitude that you want to be taking into a situation, especially not given that this was my third pre-market trade. And other than my first, which was even executed not perfectly, that I think I'm over trading in this situation. And so once I closed this one, I just told myself, okay, like you can't be allowed to keep doing these things and go into the market in regular hours, and where everything moves a lot faster. If you're making decisions like this, it's going to catch up to you. And so that's when I had like a boss employee moment where I just told myself, you're not allowed to trade. Like if you want to trade, go ahead, but they're all going to be practice trades, whatever it is you do. And so this is the result I ended up with. And I really, I felt upset about this day, because I felt like I gave it all back, and I did. I had a good winner. 97.50 was my gross P&L on that first IC trade, and I gave it almost all back. I gave $94 back in two spots that I wasn't happy with. And although on the one hand, having 33% accuracy and still being green, that's nice. But I'd rather this be a one and done trade. Looking back, I mean, I do remember during the day on Monday, I do remember having the thought, maybe I should just lock it up right now and wait for the bell. And I didn't do that. And it's listening to thoughts like that I really need to correct. And so I decided to punish myself and just not trade for the rest of the day. And granted, I did get pulled away, and I would have had to leave my desk anyway. But the point is that just like on this day right here, on Friday, I locked myself out of my account, and I ended up having a bunch of green trades later in the day, but they were practice trades because that I had closed my account early. And this is the same thing. I don't know what happened later in the day on the 28th, but maybe there was some sort of awesome setup that I missed. And the whole point of locking myself out on days like this is to teach myself to get better, to make my first trade better, and to not enter that first trade that's going to decide the day if it's not a good quality setup. And in this case, my first trade was good. On the 28th, my first trade was good, but I didn't continue that pattern, and I got sloppy. And so that's why I locked myself out. And I don't regret doing it either. I feel that if I give myself a little bit of leeway, it's going to be a slippery slope. And I feel this is the best way to make sure that I'm disciplined on my first trade and that I make smart decisions. If I lock myself out and then I see this amazing opportunity pass me by and I have to, use a practice trade to trade it, and I end up booking a home run or something, well, then I'm going to think, damn, maybe I should be a little bit better next time, and maybe I should clean up my act earlier in the day. So that's pretty much a good description of how my day went on Monday. And as a closing note, I will throw it out there that I did solve the mystery of the 6-hour average trade, which was actually pretty funny. I'll show you where the problem was. It was on this trade on RAD from earlier. I don't know how it happened, but one of my inputs, the closing input, was instead of just being 9 a.m. and 59 minutes and 46 seconds, it was the year 1900 and then the same time that is listed there. And for whatever reason, that gave me the 122 hours or whatever it was. There was a crazy amount of time. Anyway, you can see that's been fixed. The average trade time is now correct. I did do all this over the weekend, looking at every single trade, and I did it in reverse order too. I started at the bottom and went up. So it's a bummer that it was so high up and I had to do all that stuff. But that's a discipline and practice in itself, so can't complain there. My stats are now accurate, and I've also changed a few things. I took away the Q3 and Q4 tabs I decided that this simulator isn't going to run long enough for me to justify having those tabs. So I simplified it a little bit. And same thing on the daily results. I just have 2019 and then September, October. And as we close this month, on Friday of this week, I suppose, I will open up a new tab for November.